The story of Medusa is one of the most infamous in Greek mythology. She was once a beautiful young woman, but was cursed by the goddess Athena and turned into a monster with snakes for hair. In this video, we'll explore the dark and fascinating history of Medusa, from her origins to the impact that her legend has had on popular culture. So get ready to learn about one of the most fearsome creatures in ancient mythology. According to Greek mythology, Medusa was once a beautiful young woman who caught the eye of Poseidon, the god of the sea. The two of them fell in love and had a secret affair, but unfortunately for them, their relationship did not remain a secret for long. Athena, goddess of wisdom and warfare and a virgin goddess, discovered the affair and was outraged that one of her priestesses had broken her chastity oath. As punishment, Athena cursed Medusa to become a hideous monster with snakes for hair, warning that anyone who gazed upon her would turn to stone. The once beautiful Medusa was transformed into a terrifying creature, doomed to live out the rest of her days as a monster. Athena, goddess of wisdom and warfare, played a crucial role in Medusa's transformation into a monster with snakes for hair. According to some versions of the myth, Athena was outraged that Medusa had broken her chastity oath and had sex with Poseidon, and decided to punish her by turning her into a monster. In other versions, Athena had nothing against Medusa herself, but wanted to punish Poseidon for his infidelity by taking away the object of his desire. Either way, Athena's curse was a devastating one, and it left Medusa forever altered and alone, a warning to other mortals never to cross the gods. After her transformation, Medusa's physical appearance was drastically altered. Instead of her flowing locks of hair, she now had writhing snakes on her head, with each snake possessing a venomous bite. Her once rosy cheeks were now pale and lifeless, and her eyes were said to be so terrifying that they could turn anyone who looked into them into stone. Her body was also adorned with scales and wings reminiscent of those of a dragon or serpent, making her an even more fearsome sight to behold. Nevertheless, despite her monstrous appearance, Medusa remained a tragic figure, cursed to live out her existence in isolation and despair. In the original myth of Medusa, it was said that anyone who looked directly into her eyes would be turned to stone. This was a formidable weapon, which made Medusa even more feared by those who knew of her existence. Her petrifying gaze was said to be a punishment from Athena, who wished to make her even more terrifying after her transformation into a monster with snakes for hair. The idea of a gaze that could turn people to stone captured the imagination of the ancient Greeks, and has persisted as one of the most iconic elements of Medusa's legend. Although the traditional version of Medusa's story states that looking directly into her eyes would turn a person to stone, there have been various adaptations and retellings of the myth that have added twists to this idea. For instance, some versions of the story suggest that Medusa's gaze was not enough to turn people to stone on its own, but required a certain level of intention or anger from the monster. In other variations, it was possible to protect oneself from petrification by looking at Medusa's reflection in a mirror or shield, or by wearing a certain charm or talisman. These different interpretations have added layers of complexity to the myth of Medusa's gaze, and have allowed new generations of storytellers to put their own spin on this ancient tale. Medusa's gaze has had a rich cultural and symbolic significance over the centuries. In Greek mythology, her power to turn people to stone was seen as a punishment from the gods, as well as a powerful weapon in her own right. But this petrifying effect has also been interpreted in many different ways by later generations. In some cases, Medusa's gaze has been seen as a symbol of the dangers of feminine beauty and allure, while in others, it has been interpreted as a critique of male desire and the objectification of women. More recently, Medusa's gaze has become a metaphor for the power of anxiety and fear to paralyze the human mind. However interpreted, Medusa's petrifying gaze remains an enduring and powerful symbol in modern culture. The origin of the use of the Medusa head as a protective symbol can be traced back to ancient Greece. According to some accounts, the head of Medusa was believed to have retained some of its power even after her death, making it an effective talisman for protection against evil forces. The image of Medusa's head was also associated with the goddess Athena, who was said to have worn it on her shield as a symbol of her power and protection. Additionally, the image of Medusa's head became closely associated with warriors and heroes in ancient Greece. The powerful protective properties of the Medusa head made it a popular emblem for soldiers and fighters looking to ward off harm in battle. Many soldiers would wear images of Medusa on their armor and shields as a symbol of their strength and fearlessness in the face of danger. This association between Medusa and warrior culture persisted throughout the centuries, and her head remains a powerful icon to this day. Although the use of Medusa's head as a protective symbol has its roots in ancient Greece, it has continued to be popular in modern times. In some cultures, the image of Medusa is associated with warding off evil and providing protection. In medieval folklore, succubi were believed to be female demons who seduced men in their sleep and caused them to have fantastical nightmares. They were often described as beautiful women with demonic features, such as wings or horns, and they were said to be skilled in the arts of seduction. In many cases, succubi were believed to be able to shape-shift into different forms, making it even more difficult for their victims to resist their advances. The fear of succubi was a common one in medieval Europe, and many people believed that they needed to take special precautions to protect themselves from these demonic entities. In some medieval beliefs, Medusa was associated with succubi as a female demon that seduced men and caused them nightmares. This association was likely rooted in the fear and anxiety surrounding feminine beauty and sexuality that was prevalent during this time period. Medusa's formidable appearance, with her serpentine hair and petrifying gaze, may have been seen as a manifestation of the same kind of demonic femininity represented by succubi. However, it's worth noting that this association is not universal, and many other interpretations of Medusa's character exist in medieval literature and art. The association of Medusa with succubi in medieval beliefs had a lasting impact on the perception of her character in later periods. Although this association was not universal or consistent, it did contribute to a broader trend of negative portrayals of Medusa as a seductress and a danger to male virtue. This was especially prevalent in Renaissance art, where Medusa was often depicted as a beautiful woman with snakes for hair, emphasizing both her feminine allure and her monstrous nature. Later interpretations of Medusa have sought to reclaim and reimagine her character in more positive or empowering ways, emphasizing her role as a symbol of female strength and resilience. Nonetheless, the legacy of Medusa as a succubus remains an important part of her complex and multifaceted history. In the 1970s, the feminist movement began to use symbols and imagery to promote their message of female empowerment and challenge traditional gender roles. One of the symbols that emerged during this time was the head of Medusa, which was used to represent the unapologetic power and strength of women. The myth of Medusa, with its themes of female oppression and defiance, resonated with many women who were looking to challenge their own marginalized positions in society. By using the image of Medusa's head, feminists were able to reclaim and redefine the image of the monstrous feminine, turning it into a symbol of female power and resilience. The use of Medusa's head as a symbol of feminist empowerment in the 1970s challenged the traditional perception of women as victims and objects of male desire. By embracing the image of the monstrous feminine, feminists were able to reject the repressive and limiting stereotypes imposed on them by patriarchal society. Medusa's serpentine hair and petrifying gaze were reimagined as symbols of female power and defiance, representing the ability of women to defend themselves against the unjust and oppressive forces of the world. In this way, Medusa's head became a powerful symbol of feminist resistance and rebellion, embodying the fierce determination and strength of women fighting for their rights and autonomy. The use of Medusa's head as a symbol of feminist empowerment in the 1970s continues to have an impact on contemporary feminist discourse. Medusa's image has been embraced by a wide variety of feminist individuals and groups, who see her as a symbol of female power, resistance, and resilience. Many contemporary feminist artworks, such as paintings, sculptures, and installations, feature the image of Medusa in various forms, highlighting her continued relevance and potency as a symbol of feminist struggle. By reclaiming and redefining the image of Medusa, feminists have challenged negative stereotypes of women and offered a powerful affirmation of female strength and autonomy. So that's the dark history of Medusa, from her origins as a victim of the god's wrath, to her transformation into a powerful symbol of protection, to her lasting impact on popular culture. Despite her fearsome reputation, Medusa remains a complex and intriguing figure in Greek mythology, whose story continues to captivate people to this day. We hope you enjoyed learning about her as much as we did. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this one.